Hello English students, and thanks for checking out this video on rhetorical analysis thesis statements. The rhetorical analysis thesis statement video is used only for our analysis section. So when we move on to argumentative writing and synthesis writing, I would request that you use the thesis statement videos for those types of essays, as they are very different, which you may learn in just a few moments. So, in general, thesis statements are used to show your opinion in a paper. Usually it's 1 to 2 sentences, sometimes 3, that state your opinion or your stance or your belief on a certain situation, an article, or what have you. For rhetorical analysis papers, they're going to be what you believe the author was doing, saying, thinking, and who the intended audience was. And because of that, I'm going to ask that we follow a very specific formula. Usually, I wouldn't recommend following formulas, but in this case, I'm looking for some really specific things, and the AP readers on our AP English test are going to be looking to see that you have very specific things in your paper. So if you get this formula memorized, and you will by the time the AP test comes, it will really help you make sure that you have everything you need for the AP test. So the formula looks like this. The yellow words are the ones that you want to replace with information from the text. So the author persuades the intended audience to the argument because, and then the broad reason used to persuade the audience. Now, I bet you're thinking that this information looks really familiar, and you'd be correct. Most of this information is found on the outside of an AP square. Really handy, right? And that's why we do AP squares, because the outside of an AP square gives us essentially our introductory paragraph, and then the inside of the AP square makes up our body paragraphs. So let's go ahead and let's look at an example piece of rhetoric, and then let's create a mini AP square and write a thesis statement for it. So if we take a look at this piece of rhetoric, it says, Kim, do the dishes or you are grounded. Love, Mom, and it has some cute little kittens on it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create an AP square, and for our purposes we're going to create the outside of an AP square only, because that's all we need for the thesis statement. So if you'd like some practice, go ahead and pause the video right now and go ahead and make the outside of an AP square. Once you've paused it and made your AP square, we can continue on. So why don't we start by comparing your AP square to my AP square. So on my AP square, I have the author listed as Mom, the title as Note. You'll notice there was no title, so I went ahead and gave it a title of my own. The persona is Mother. The audience is Kim. The period is modern. Parents often work and need children to help around the house with chores. And the argument was to wash the dishes to avoid a punishment. Notice that I tried to use some different words. I didn't say that the word grounded in my argument. I'm trying to mix it up so that when I write my paper, it sounds a little different than the exact text. So now I want to take my AP square and I want to take the thesis formula and I want to go ahead and create my thesis. All right, so I'm going to take my thesis and I'm going to take my my thesis formula and take my AP square, and I'm going to plug the portions of my AP square into the thesis formula. So the author is Mother, and we know that Mom and Mother are interchangeable, so I might use the mother. I could say the mom, or if I knew her name, I might say Connie Icahn, because that's my mom, persuades her daughter, Kim, to wash the dishes. And notice that the audience came right out of the AP square. To wash the dishes, that's coming right out of my AP square because of the threatened punishment. So I'm essentially just pulling the pieces out of my AP square and replacing the yellow words with the words from my AP square. And I did want to show you that normally we don't have commas in our AP squares. Down below I wrote the mother persuades her daughter to wash the dishes because of the threatened punishment. If I want to be specific, I could say comma Kim. If I don't want to, I don't have to. Or I could say persuades Kim to wash the dishes because of the threatened punishment. So we have choices. In our thesis as well, we're following a formula. They're not going to be identical. Most of the time, the author will be identical. The audience will be close. The argument will be close. And the because will be similar, but we're going to choose different words than our peers, and that's okay. I look at them and I make sure to see that you are on the right track and that you're getting the essence of the article. And then once you have that, your thesis is done. You plug that in. Your thesis for the rhetorical analysis should be the last sentence of your first paragraph, and once you have done that, you've completed your first paragraph. Congratulations.